What's up, guys? So in today's video we're going to talk about the creation of man and where modern science falls into it and what do I personally believe. So how religion and science mix in Hellenic Polytheism, this is just my personal view on where it all fits in and what I believe. So we all see through science that evolution, the scientist tells us, is real. So how can that fit into spirituality and how does it fit into Hellenic Polytheism and how do I view it in my life? And I wanted to do a video about that and we can tie it back to how the gods can help us learn through our process on this planet. And I think it goes back to the God that doesn't really get a lot of credit in Hellenic polytheism or in general that I always felt like he should have, and that is the god Prometheus. So I'm going to read the story of Prometheus and fill in where I think that fits into our lives. And if you haven't heard the story of the god Prometheus, other than he gave fire to man, let's hear about that and I'll go on as I talk about it. All right. So it says Prometheus and Epimetheus, who were brothers, they were the two brothers as afterthought and forethought. So Prometheus is forethought and Epimetheus is afterthought. Were spared from imprisonment in Tartarus because they had not fought their fellow Titans during the war with the Olympians. So they were given the task of creating man. So in mythology, it was Prometheus and his brother Epimetheus that made man. Now when I say man, I'm talking about males. You'll hear later where the female came from. So man was created. Now what's interesting is that it shares something with the Judeo-Christian belief, because Prometheus and Epimetheus created man, and Prometheus shaped man out of mud. That sounds familiar, right? And it was Athena that breathed life into man. Much like how Adam in the Bible was created out of mud and clay and had life breathed into him, Athena breathed life into this man. So Prometheus had assigned Epimetheus the task of giving the creature of the earth their various qualities, such as swiftness, cunning, strength, fur, and wings. Unfortunately, by the time he got to man, Epimetheus had given all the good qualities out and there were none left for man. So Prometheus decided to make man stand upright as the gods did and give him the gift of fire. So how do I feel how this ties into science? So evolution began, and it was, by the time evolution came to what we call human, it was the guys that maybe helped spark and help guide them into the sciences and learning things such as how to use fire. And maybe the spirit of Prometheus helped guide us in that. And Prometheus is looked on as one of the gods of sciences for reasons like this. So Prometheus loved man more than the Olympians, who had banished most of his family to Tartarus. So when Zeus decreed that the man must present a portion of each animal they sacrificed to the gods, Prometheus decided to trick Zeus. He created two piles, one with bones wrapped in juicy fat, the other with good meat hidden in the hide. He then bade Zeus to pick, so Zeus picked the bones. Since he had given his word, Zeus had to accept that as the share for the future sacrifices. And in his anger over the trick, he took fire away from man. However, Prometheus lit a torch from the sun and brought it back again. Zeus was enraged that man again had fire, and he decided to inflict a terrible punishment on both man and Prometheus. So that's the story that everyone knows about Prometheus, about giving fire to man. And I think that can be symbolism for helping guide man into the sciences and learning more and getting them out of that Stone Age. So to punish man, Zeus had Hephaestus create a mortal that is stunningly beautiful. Now here's where women come in. So the gods gave mortal gave the mortal many gifts of wealth, and you guys know the first woman before I even say it. So he then had Hermes give the mortal a deceptive heart and a lying tongue. So this is what ancient Greece thought of women. And you guys know who this is. So the creation was Pandora, the first woman. So if you guys know Pandora's box, but you may not know that she was the first woman. So a final gift was a jar with which Pandora was forbidden to open, that you guys know about. Thus completing Zeus set Pandora down to Epimetheus, who was staying among the men. So Prometheus had warned Epimetheus not to accept gifts from Zeus, but Pandora's beauty was too great, he allowed her to stay. And eventually Pandora's curiosity about the jar she was forbidden to open became too great. She opened the jar and flew out all manners of evil, sorrow, pain, and plagues, and misfortunes. However, the bottom of the jar held one good thing left, and that was hope. So Zeus was angry at Prometheus for these three things: being tricked on the sacrifices, stealing fire from man, and refusing to tell Zeus which of Zeus's children would dethrone him. Because it was foretold that the way he dethroned Kronos and how Kronos dethroned his father, Zeus was going to be dethroned as well. And Prometheus knew this, and he would not tell who would it be. And eventually, that never happened. So Zeus had his servants, force and violence, seize Prometheus, take him to the Caucasus Mountains, chain him to the rock with unbreakable adamant chains, and here he was tormented day and night by a giant eagle that tearing out his liver, that you guys have probably heard about too. And Zeus gave Prometheus 2 ways out of his torment. He could tell Zeus who the mother of the child that would dethrone him was, or meet 2 conditions. First, the immortal must volunteer to die for an immortal must volunteer to die for Prometheus. Second, a mortal must kill the eagle and unchain him. And eventually Charon the centaur agreed to die for him, and Heracles killed the eagle, and that's how he eventually became free. And so with all that said, I think that's where evolution and humankind fall into each other. If you want to look through it as a Hellenic polytheist, is that we were created and evolved probably with the help of the gods, and maybe it was Prometheus that helped guide us out of the Stone Age and more into the modern, what we would see as the modern era today. And again, I always thought, reading the story of Prometheus, that we don't really give him the honor we should for all the help that he's given. He's kind of the hero of man, or one of the first hero should say, of the gods that really helped mankind out. So prayers to Prometheus, and always give a thankful heart in your prayers to the God that gave us fire and helped us when in the mythologies it seemed like no one cared as much as Prometheus. Anyway, something to think about, and I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.